guys, what's up? Welcome back here to today's edition of Intuitive Angling, and really appreciate you guys coming by the channel to check today's video out. Always appreciate that. And guys, today I'm going to talk about how to choose the correct jig color. Now, if you watch Intuitive Angling and you've been part of my channel for a long time, we talk a lot about jig fishing. We talk a lot about jerkbait fishing because those are my two favorite baits. I think those are two of probably the best lures that any bass angler can master. Catches quality fish, they catch a lot of fish, and there's a lot to it because out of all the techniques to fish, when you talk about the most complicated, diverse, and just a lot of nuances to it, jig fishing and jerkbait fishing are at the top of the list by far. I'm gonna put, in my opinion, they're pretty much tied as far as the amount of variables involved with it. There's a lot to learn about it. And in order to master jig fishing and jerkbait fishing both, but jig fishing in today's episode, you have to understand a ton of different scenarios that go with it. You have your colors, you have the head size, you have the profile of the jig, you have how many strands of fiber are in the skirt, you have the trailer options, you have the line size, you have the rate of fall, you have the mood and the personality of the bass that is conducive to a jig. And that's just to name a few. There's a ton with it. But today specifically, guys, I want to talk about, I'm going to give you a basic foundation on how to choose your jig colors based upon the water that you're fishing. And it's going to make a big difference because I can tell you from somebody that, I consider myself really good at jig fishing. It's been part of my, it's been probably the bait I've fished longer than anything throughout the course of my career. And I've learned a lot about colors, and I've learned a lot about colors that the bass prefer. So I'm going to get into that in today's video and share it with you guys. Also, guys, two quick housekeeping tips I'd like to go over here before we get started. I'd just like to invite everybody, if you haven't had a chance, to please swing by and check out my Fish the Moment lake map breakdowns that I built for Fish the Moment. Guys, if you're looking for some good spots on your favorite lake, or a lake you've never been to, or some spots on a lake you know very well that you've maybe never seen before, this is a great resource. Gives you 40 GPS waypoints you can download straight to your electronic unit with tips and advice of an overview of the lake. And also, guys, if you purchase one of the lake map breakdowns from Fish the Moment, you can feel free to shoot me a private message on my Facebook page, Randy Blaukat Professional Angler, for any questions. So I'll put that link in the description for the lake map breakdown. So I really appreciate that. Okay, now we're going to talk about, obviously, I'm partial. This is my Blaukat Throwback jig. Cumberland Pro Lures makes it for me. I will link my jig link and my Tackle Warehouse link in the description. They have a full selection, 6 different colors of my Blaukat Throwback jig. If you're not familiar with it, guys, my Throwback jig, it's living rubber, hand tied. Now this is what separates this jig from every other jig on the market. Most jigs they have that little cheap rubber collar and they're silicone skirts because that's cheap to make. But living rubber is the #1 material for a jig because it's more lifelike in the water. It puts out a glow in the water that silicone can't duplicate, and bigger fish like it. So another thing about the jig here, guys, I got a short shank hook, gives a better hookups on it. Nice keeper there, nice little sharp 4/0 mustad hook. Turned eye here to make it a lot more weedless. It's just the best jig on the market, man. I'd argue that with anyone. So link in the description there. So I've got 6 colors I want to talk about here. And these are the 6 primary colors that I use for jig fishing. Now I will say before I get into this is one color jig that I do use quite a bit that we don't offer in my Throwback jig line is a green pumpkin silicone skirt. A green pumpkin silicone skirt is a good clear water jig color, but I don't fish jigs a lot in clear water. But if I'm fishing in water visibility that's like over 4 foot with a jig, a lot of times I'll use a green pumpkin, sometimes a brown, but a lot of times that green pumpkin silicone because it's a little bit more translucent. But for everything else, which comprises 90% of my jig fishing, when I'm fishing water visibility of less than 4 foot, it's the living rubber. The living rubber, far superior to silicone skirts out there. And another thing about it, guys, do not underestimate the importance of a hand tie because the hand tied skirt makes the skirt flare more, and those rubber collars will rot out, and they're cheaply made stuff. That's just why they're so cheap. Okay, well, let's talk a little bit about the colors. I'm going to run through every one of my colors here. I'm going to explain to you the scenario that I use them in and the water clarities. Okay, the first one, guys, is just a solid brown jig. Solid brown is a really good color all the way around for every type of jig fishing. It's like solid brown. It's good in a little bit off-colored water. It's good in some cleaner water. Most of the time, the window for me to use a brown jig is about 2 to 4 foot clarity. That's sort of the zone with it. Most of the time I match it up with a green pumpkin skirt. It's a really good color in that little bit cleaner water because it's a natural hue. And when you put a green pumpkin or a watermelon trailer on the thing, it looks super natural. I mean, it looks like a crawdad in the water. It doesn't stand out too much, yet it, stands out just a little bit. But 2 to 4 foot clarity is where I use the green pumpkin most all the time. Occasionally, if that water visibility is like around 2 foot or so, I'll put a blue trailer on my brown jig. So that's one of my favorite setups. Okay, now the next one, sort of along the same lines, this is brown with orange. Now, brown with orange is really good in the same situations that I just talked about, except the orange is gonna work a little bit better in a little bit more off-colored water. So I'll use a brown and orange combination, and that water visibility sort of between 1.5 feet to maybe 2.5 feet is where I really like that. The orange stands out a little bit. And a couple different trailers I use the green pumpkin on it, I'll use the solid brown on it, and sometimes I'll use the blue on it, just depending upon what the fish prefer. But the brown and orange is a really good color when the water temperature's in the 50s. So it doesn't make any difference if you're fishing a jig in March when the water temperature's in the 50s or like in December. This is my window for the brown and orange guys. When the water temperature's in the 50s, throw a brown and orange. Works really, really good. Okay, the next one of my favorite, this is one that doesn't get fished much anymore, but it's one of my favorite, is a black and chartreuse model here. This is also, guys, you can see on my throwback jig, we make them with the long skirts on purpose so you can trim them. Well, I would trim them up here, but it looks like the boys ran off with my scissors again. But I trim my skirts all up on there based upon the trailer I'm using. But anyway, black and chartreuse, excellent, excellent dirty water color. So the time that I use the black and chartreuse is when that water visibility is under 1.5 feet or so. So water visibility of about 6 inches to about 1.5 feet, absolutely perfect for a black and chartreuse jig. Another thing, guys, if it's raining, put your black and chartreuse jig on. There's something about chartreuse on a jig on those low light, rainy days the bass love. And I use quite a few different trailers on it. If the water's really muddy, like 6 inches of visibility, I'll put a solid black trailer on it. If the water visibility is cleaner, like on that 1.5 foot end, I'll put a green pumpkin trailer on it. And then if that water is about 1 foot visibility, I'll put a blue trailer on it. So blue trailer, black trailer, green pumpkin trailer, depending upon the water clarity there. But guys, you can't beat, man. If it's a rainy, nasty, cloudy day, just put you a black and chartreuse jig on, with any trailer. They really, really bite it good. Okay, the next one is similar to that. This is a green pumpkin chartreuse. This is one of an exclusive color that I came up with for Tackle Warehouse. Guys, out of all the jigs that I've got here, the colors, I've caught more bass the last year on this green pumpkin chartreuse than any color that I've got. Even though you have a green pumpkin skirt, this is a stained water jig. I fish this when the water visibility is less than 1.5 feet. I usually have a green pumpkin trailer on it that I dye bright chartreuse. So I'll put a green pumpkin trailer on it and I'll dye half the trailer chartreuse. So this whole jig, there's a ton of chartreuse on it. And guys, I don't know what it is about it. They love this thing in dirty water, especially in the late summer and the fall time of the year. I haven't done that good on it in the spring, but from about, first part of August into like October or something, deadly with the green pumpkin trailer dyed chartreuse in it. And finally, guys, the last two is the old favorite, guys, black and blue. Now we make 2 different models of black and blue in the throwback jig. We got the black and blue with the black and blue rubber, and we got the black and blue tinsel here. This is a limited run, guys. We'll be coming out with it more. But I use 2 different types in here. If I'm fishing cold water, like if the water temperature is under, say, 55 degrees, I like the blue rubber on there. There's something about the little bit more dull finish with the blue rubber that I get more bites on. And if the water temperature is warmer, especially if the water temperature is over 70, I really like the tinsel on there. That flash really gets a lot of bites in that off-colored dirty water when it's warmer. But guys, these are great colors right here, and they work in a wide range of different water clarities. I'll fish the black and blue in 6 inches of visibility on up to like 3.5 or 4 foot of visibility. If the water is a little bit cleaner, like 3 to 4 foot of visibility, I'm using a green pumpkin trailer on it. If the water visibility is, say, 1.5 to 3 foot, I'm usually using a solid blue trailer. And if the water visibility is dirty, like under 1.5 feet, I usually have a solid black trailer on it. But you really need both the tinsel and the rubber on there. Okay, guys, that's the 6 that I use right there for 90% of my jig fishing. If you just follow some of those simple tips, it's really going to help you out. And again, you can get these at my Tackle Warehouse link. I'll put them in the description there. So hope it helps you guys. Talk later.